Hello humans, welcome again to this training course for Touchdesigner. This is the third session, and after all the content that we already saw in the two past sessions where we navigate a little bit the software, where we approach a little bit to the families, and where we understand how is the flow-based programming concept. Now we are going to learn how to interact with our system, and today it's really important to understand all of those elements. So that's why I create all of those graphics, and I will explain in the best way how to interact with our system from two really simple elements: our keyboard and our mouse. It's really important that we always have a mouse available, like this one that you are seeing here in the screen. We just need a mouse with a right click, with a left click, and with a scroll. This is the basic element that we need to interact and to work with our Touchdesigner system. And also I want to show you a little project that I have developed, and we are going to be navigating inside that project. And it's this one that you are seeing here. Is this little element that it's following my mouse, and every time that I interact with my mouse, you will see that I'm pressing the right click, or I'm pressing the left click, or I'm scrolling. And if I'm moving to one side or another, the mouse also has an animation, like if it's moving. So we are going to be going a little bit deeper than what we already saw in the past two sessions. So again, it's really important that we always have a mouse with the three buttons: left, right, and the scroll, because this is all the three elements that we will need to program and to interact with our different elements inside our system. So as I explained the last session, when we were talking about boxes, we will remember that we always be contained inside a project. So here, if you click in go to root, this is something that is going to bring you to this page or to this level. So I'm going really deep, like 2 levels, and I click go to root here, the house, and this is going to bring me here to the first level, or to the root, no? That is the base of all other projects. So when I'm navigating, I can scroll in or scroll out to get out of the containers, or scroll in to get into the containers. It's really easy. Or we can use the key U to go up, and the key E. For example, I select this one and I click E. I press the key E, and in that way I'm going inside the container that I have select E, and the U key if I'm going up. So this is how we navigate inside the containers in our different levels. Also, you can see here that you always be monitoring the place where you are, just with the path that we have available here in this row. So if we go to the root, there's no element that shows, so because we are in the root, like when we are working a path or something like this inside Windows or Mac OS. But every time that we go inside a container, we will find here the name of that container. So if we are going inside project 1, we will find here project 1, and if we will see, if we will go inside button 1, that it's inside project 1, that it's inside root. This is how we will find our paths. So I can click project 1, or I can click root, and in that way I also can navigate inside my project. So let's continue with the images that we have prepared here. So you see that I'm always moving my network. So we'll find 3 different interactions: the network panning, that it's what I'm doing every time that I click the left bottom. I can move and drag all my network. So in that way, I can drag my network. I just have to click and hold and drag my mouse. The second one is this zoom in and zoom out, and that's why it's really important to have the mouse with the scroll, because in that way I'm going out or in with my zoom, and it's the best way to navigate inside different networks. So as you can see, I don't really use the keyboard when I'm doing really simple networks, because I can do everything with my mouse. And the third interaction is the select area. So when you are trying to move all of this network, you just need to click the right click and drag, and in that way you will create this area. So you will see all the elements that you have selected, because the border highlights with that yellow line. And after that, you just need to hold it and move it. So this is really basic, but it's so important because it's all the capability that we have to interact. The three buttons of our mouse and a few keys in our keyboard. Now we are going to see how we can also use these elements, the three buttons, inside every kind of element in different families. So for example, we already saw that if we want to interact with different nodes, we'll always have the button in the corner, in the bottom, in the right side, that it's a button with a plus sign inside. All the elements has this button in the corner, and this is the way that we can interact with our nodes and the information inside those nodes. When we are talking about tops, this thing is not really useful because we are just going to drag an image. For example, I will try to do it here, and I just can move the image, but that is not really a navigation inside the element. So with the texture operators or the tops, it's not really useful. When we are talking about chops, it's different. So let's get a LFO. And when we are talking about chops, we will want to get the information of the different channels that we find inside our nodes. We already saw that we can see the information in bars like this, or we can see it in a graphic with a length in frames. So the number that it's actually now in the exact frame is this one, that it's represented with this point here that's going up and down. So when we want to get inside every operator and get the information of a specific channel, we will want to click the plus sign, and in that way the borders of our node will change, and I will have the opportunity to position my mouse on top of the channel, and in that way I can select that channel. But let's do it with different LFOs. So I'm going to make 3 different, and I'm gonna merge it. Perfect. And I can graphic this thing. Now we have the 3 different channels being visualized by this trail, and we also have it in bars. So for example, let's make a little experiment. We will do a constant that is just like a grid of pixels, and we are going to make 3 different levels. And what I want to do is to link every different channel with a parameter here in one of those different levels. So if I select this level, I will find all of those different pages. For example, I can go to brightness and change this parameter based in the behavior of this channel. And for that, I will want to activate my operator with the plus button in the corner and select any of the channels that are available inside that operator. Now I have 3, but I just will use the first. I click, hold my click, drag, my cursor is going to change, and I can drop it inside any parameter. In this case, I will use brightness. When I drop and release my button in the mouse, I will find 3 different options: export chop, chop reference, and current chop value. We already saw that. I will choose in this time export chop. And now the behavior of this parameter is linked with the first channel. I also can do it using one of those channels here in this different representation of the same information. Those 2 nodes has the exactly same information. The only difference is the way that is being visualized. Here we have bars and here we have a trail. But anyway, if I activate this, I can step on top of any of those 2 channels, but in this case it's not all the area. Here I have to step on top of the name, and I will do the same now here with the second level. For example, now I don't want to change the brightness. Maybe what I want to do now is to change the opacity. In the difference between changing the brightness and the opacity is that the brightness is going to change just from 0 to 1, or in this case from black to white. But if I change the opacity, what I'm really changing here is the alpha channel. So in this case, it's not 1 and 0 that represents black and white, and in this case I'm changing the value of the opacity of all the pixels. So if I'm in 1, I will see all the elements that I have here that are just white pixels, but if I go to 0, the information of the pixel in terms of colors in the RGB channel are not changing. The channel that is changing is the alpha. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to activate my trail operator. I'm gonna step on top of the second channel, and in the same way I'm gonna hold, drag, and release on top of the box of the parameter. In this case I'm gonna choose chop reference, and now I can see how this operator is changing based on the behavior of this LFO. And I can do another thing with this third level. For example, we have this page here where we can edit the highs and the low levels of every channel independently. So we will find low red, low green, high green, low blue, high blue, and low alpha and high alpha. Let's see what happened. For example, if I change all the height levels of the red, now we'll find this kind of blue that is mixed green and blue. If I change both of this, I will just have green, for example. So let's activate one of those parameters with the third channel, for example this one here, and I also can use another that I already use in another element. This doesn't really matter if I use this channel in different parameters. It's just an element that is available for any element that I want to use in different parameters. So now we can see how I can interact with my mouse with the channel operators if I want to use the information that it's inside, that will be always numeric nature information. Now let's see how can we navigate inside the subs. I'm gonna get torus, for example, and here we will find the three axes, Y, X, and Z. If I activate it, again, all my node is going to change, all the border is going out. I will just get the name, in this case the gizmo, and the element in third dimension. In this way I will use the same tree, but in this case they will make different interactions. For example, I activate my sub operator, and the right click that I usually need to panning my network in this case is going to roll the camera based on the center. If I use the zoom in and zoom out, in this case the scroll is going to do the same, but now the panning is based on the interaction with my right click. So if I click and drag, I'm gonna pan my camera. If I do left click and drag, what I'm going to do is to roll over the center, and if I roll my scroll up, is going to make zoom in, and if I scroll my roll down, is going to make zoom out. Also, I can click the scroll and just move my mouse up and down, and it's going to make the same zoom in and zoom out. So I can do it with the scroll, or I can click and go up and down to make my zoom in and zoom out. So remember, left click is going to roll over the center, right click is going to pan the camera, and scroll is going to make zoom in and zoom out. This is the same if I'm using a comp but with a geometry or 3D nature information, is going to be the same. But in this case I'm not using a sub, I'm using a container with information in 3D in the visual part of my node. And now I can also use the maths. All the maths use also a tridimensional visualization, but I don't even need the axis because this is just the representation of the material. This is not a real object. So it's really different than a surface. This is just the way that I can see the material, but this is not a 3D element. And now we have the dots. When we are talking about dots, we are talking about tables, spreadsheets, and text. And in this case, I can use a table. I can define how many rows and columns I need. And with the text, I will just have different lines. So the same, if I want to interact with this, I just need to activate my nodes. In this case, I will find the line that I will use to write, and I will write any kind of content. Also, I can use numbers and symbols. If I want to change my line, I just need to make enter, and this is going to change the line. And it's really important to understand that it depends the format that we are using, the lines will have a different behavior inside our operators. And in the same way, if I'm using a table, I can select any cell and get information inside. Again, it can be of any nature, alphanumeric, symbols, or whatever you want to use for your tables and text. So in that way is that we are going to be using our system. It's really simple. There are not so many interaction. Everything it's really clear. If we are using cables to connect our elements, always will be from left to right. If we want to get inside any operator, we need to use our bottom in the corner always. And everything here it's about levels. So remember that we always need a mouse with 3 buttons and a scroll. So thank you, and now the next video is we are going to explore this tool that we are using now to visualize the behavior of my mouse in real time.